SUCCESS. When I get to school, find my friends, shake hands. Talk about the summer and all the fun things we did with my fam, vacations and memories. Look, my mind is a gold mine. Summer's over, so it's go time. I'm ready to go back. Put on my thinking cap.
Hey, boys and girls!
Welcome back. Today is our last week of the series, The Dog Ate My Homework. Today we're going to be talking about sticking with God and not following the crowd even through anything. God is always with us.
How are you? Good.
Clarence.
Did you watch the sports game?
What did you do yesterday?
No, I'm too busy looking at your lotion
How
there.
went to dance practice?
well,
Why do you wear lotion?
Were you there?
I'm so sorry, Gus.
I guess.
I don't want to have
Boys and girls,
saggy
good
skin.
morning, good morning. It's test day. It's test day.
What? Test?
Do you not know we have a test?
No. What test?
Yes. Oh, this is a very, very, very important test. This is going to show us what you know.
Oh no.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
didn't study?
Is there a grade higher than 100?
No, Clarence. 100 is the highest you can go.
Okay.
Very good question.
Oh, no.
That's all right. All right, so I'm gonna pass out the papers, and you need to make sure that you have a number 2 pencil. So no number 1 or number 3 pencils will be allowed.
Can I keep my lotion out?
That's fine, Clarence.
Thank you.
That's fine, Clarence. Here you are. Here you are. Remember, our names are on our paper.
I'm so nervous.
Put your glue up, Clarence.
Oh no. Oh no.
Susie.
What? I'm so nervous. I didn't study.
Oh, Susie. Well, you don't need to be nervous.
I am, and I get nervous when I have to take tests anyways.
Oh. Well, see, Susie, whenever I'm nervous, I trust in God. Whether it be a test, whether it be going to the doctor's office, or whatever I face in life, I trust in God, and God sticks with you closer than glue.
So you don't study, you just trust God?
Oh, Susie, I love to study. You know I study. But I don't get nervous, though, because I trust in God. You still have to study. Did you study?
No.
Oh, Susie.
Oh no.
Well, while God does work miracles, you still have to study. But you can trust in God, and He will help calm your nerves.
Okay. I'll get
Very
that.
good words, Clarence.
Thanks, Gus.
All right, boys and girls, it's almost time to begin. Everyone's name should be on their paper, and we're going to do our best work. All right? And you may begin.
Guys, today we're doing something pretty crazy. So we have a bag that's filled with water. And Miss Emily's gonna hold this bag above my head, and she's gonna poke pencils in the bag, and I'm not gonna get wet.
What?
I really trust Miss Emily here. She's gotta do it correctly though, or I will get wet. So this is gonna show us a lesson about trust. So let's go ahead and see what happens if Miss Emily pokes a pencil into this bag above my head.
Okay. Wow.
Did she do it? Wow.
did.
All right, so she's gonna do a couple more.
But this first one worked, you see that?
Yes.
That one worked.
That one
Pretty
worked.
much. Yeah, it did. It's
Yeah.
not leaking anymore.
All right. So,
Okay.
did I get wet? Maybe a little. But with the first one I didn't.
Yeah, it worked.
So, sometimes in life, it can feel like we're getting poked. And we can trust God fully. That even if crazy things are happening in life, and maybe friends move away, your best friend in the world moves away, you still have to trust God. Maybe family members get sick or a pet dies and it hurts. Trusting God is a bit like getting poked pencils above your head and you still don't get wet. We can trust God even when it seems like everything is going wrong and things around us is just an impossible situation. God still loves us and cares for us. And just like the first pencil in this experiment showed us, we can trust Him even when it seems impossible. But when we try to do things without trusting God, it's like the second pencil, and you're going to get all wet. So we have to trust God completely.
Hey, boys and girls, we are so glad to have you back with us again this week. This week, we're going to be talking about sticking with God under any circumstances. So, what's our story about today, Miss Emily?
It is about Daniel and the lion's den. And it's Daniel chapter 6, verses 1 through about 23-ish. So, yeah, and it was another king who made a rule, and Daniel didn't follow it. So Daniel was thrown in a lion's den.
Yeah, so the king had counselors, people that he went to for advice and such, and there was several of them that could not stand Daniel. They would pick on Daniel, and part of it was jealousy because they knew Daniel was a really good guy, and they were like, well, the king really likes Daniel, and we want the king to like us better. So they came up with a plan. They kind of like
Made a little
stalked Daniel a little bit,
Yeah.
found out what he did, and then made a law that went against something Daniel did.
And they got the king to kind of go along with it,
Yeah.
just kind of like a little loophole to say, okay, how about we do this? We will throw anybody into the lion's den who does not bow down to you. And the king was like, okay.
Yep.
And then the counselors went and saw Daniel praying, and they were like, King Darius.
Darius!
Some tattletales.
Yeah, they were tattletales, and they went and told Daniel, and then the king was like, well, I
Into
did
the lion's den.
say this, so we kind of have to do it, even though he didn't want to, because he liked Daniel.
Yeah, and he even gave Daniel some chances. He's like, Daniel, like if you go against your God, I won't have to throw you in the lion's den. And Daniel's like, no, even if you throw me in the lion's den and I get eaten by lions, I'm not going to go against my God.
Which is just an amazing thing, the level of faith that Daniel, and just like last week, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had faith that they trusted in God so much that they would be willing to be put to death because they
Yes.
knew God was always with them.
Exactly. And they knew that their life wasn't about glorifying themselves, it was about glorifying God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go to school or you're out and about, and you might feel the pressure to do something you shouldn't just because you're afraid. You have to remember you're never alone, that God's always with you. He will provide you the strength and the courage that you need to make the right decision and to do what's right. And you might be afraid, but all you need to do is pray, and then God will take care of you.
Absolutely. Speaking of prayer, I'll close us in prayer. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for your love and for always sticking with us. Lord, I pray that you would give us the wisdom and strength to stick with you. Lord, I pray that we would glorify you with our thoughts and our words and our actions. In your name, amen.
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 Bye, friends.
Bye.
Boys and girls, today we're going to do a hands-on activity. For this activity, you're going to need a plate with glue in it, white school glue. You're going to need some wax paper, and you're going to need some yarn. And I chose 2 different colors, red and purple, but you can do whatever colors you want to do. All right, so we're going to talk about how in life things can get messy. And for this activity, you will get messy. Your hands will. All right, so in life, we get in situations, and we can find ourselves in things that just can be, well, a mess. Okay, we're going to take our yarn and we're going to dip it in glue, and then we're going to put it on our wax paper, just like so. Spread it out, and then you might think, how can I manage sometimes when things get tough? Maybe you're at school or maybe with a friend and you have to make hard decisions sometimes. And you might think, how in the world am I going to get out of this mess? Or what can I do? We always need to remember, though, that God's always with us through any situation, no matter what. We can pray to Him and ask Him to help us when we have to make difficult decisions anytime. And He's always with us, and He will help us. All right. I decided to make a cross out of my yarn, with my yarn today. Now, after you have dipped your yarn in the glue and you've put it on the wax paper, you're going to leave it for about a day. About 24 hours is what you need to leave this for. And then when the glue is dried, you can't see it, but it's making our yarn stiff so that it can stand in a way that it couldn't before. You know, when we call on Jesus to help us get through the hard times where we might think we're in the middle of a mess and we think, how in the world am I going to get out of this? I have to make a difficult decision. Or maybe you need to, you're faced with something that you just think, how am I going to be able to stand on my own and do this? Just remember that God is like this glue. He helps us. He gives us a strength unlike anything we've ever known so that we can stand up to any situation.
Dear Lord, I thank you so much for allowing us to worship you freely. Lord, I pray that we would stick with you even when life gets hard, even when things look impossible. Lord, if we stick with you, you work everything out for the good of those who love you and who glorify you. Lord, I pray that we would glorify you with our thoughts and our words and our actions and stick with you no matter what. In your name, amen.